Here we go.
All right.
All right.
What's up, dude?
Our first Zoom one-on-one with each other. I don't like it. I'll tell you that, it's right up front. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but at least I can fucking smoke.
No, you're right. You can, and that's nice. I'm jealous of that. So I know you're not drinking anything. You're smoking Marlboro Reds. I am drinking Sierra Nevada's Wild Little Thing, slightly sour ale. I've drank it many times. I like it.
You have a 3-hour-old Mexican Coke.
Mexican Cokes are the best Cokes, to be honest. Like, I really think that they're great. So,
the Mexicans might be taking our jobs, but they're giving us some goddamn good Cokes out.
That's true. That's true.
Trade-off.
I do like the Mexican Cokes a lot. I don't buy them that often because America, but I mean, yeah.
If I'm ordering a bottled Coke, I get a bottle. I always try to get the
if I want a glass bottle, I'm definitely going to be getting the Mexican Coke. But typically, if I get a Coke, it's a 20 ounce or a can. But anyway, regardless. So we are recording maybe for the first time on a Monday night.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's 10:15 Eastern time. And this is episode 53 do-over.
Pardon you.
Yeah, 2.0 do-over.
Yeah. I'll mention it. So we had a guest that was on. I won't go by name, even though it was promoted, just in case. Had a little too much to drink and said some things that had got them in trouble at work.
An understatement.
Hey, yeah, right. I'm trying to be diplomatic here.
I know you are.
And so out of her request, we took the episode down because, as much as we're assholes and we want to, we don't edit, we keep shit up. I also don't want to cost somebody their job.
Sure.
And so you're a little more pissed about it than I am, which is, understandable. But yeah.
So
go ahead.
I'm pissed about it because we recorded a long fucking time the other night. And
yeah, it was
a long time. Yes, it was a long time. Plus the breaks in between.
Honestly, it was a goddamn good episode.
I think it was pretty good. Yeah. I didn't get to listen to it all today. I would have listened to the rest of it while I was editing video, which wouldn't have took a lot of editing because one of the camera that was on you and I, for whatever reason, didn't record to the SD card. So,
well, you know what they say whenever God closes a door.
Yeah. He sticks it in your ass.
Yep. Been there, buddy.
But
I feel like I've been fucked by the church more than I've been fucked by anyone else. But anyway, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So like the whole recording the other night caused, for a short amount of time, I'm trying to think of the right word because the words that I was fixing to say are too strong of a word, but it caused some issues at home because it was very loud. When we were recording, we were very loud Saturday night because we were having a good time. It was very loud. And my wife didn't feel well. Her medicine has changed up recently, and she was trying to go to bed at an earlier time than normal. And it was loud. It was keeping her awake. And then when everyone left later on, one of the vehicles was quite loud as it was leaving, as muscle cars are want to be.
Dude, I rev this Prius, man, and
I know it well. I don't think it was your Prius. Okay. So then that woke her up again, and then we talked about it, and it's fine. It was just a culmination of not feeling well with medicine change and going to bed at an early time and us being louder than normal. Because she said to me tonight, she said, "You guys are not normally that loud, and it's usually fine. It doesn't bother me, but for whatever reason, it was a perfect storm of everything Saturday night, and it just pissed me off. And it's fine. Like, things are fine. Yeah. We don't have to find it anywhere else to record right now.
That sounds like a personal problem to me.
No, well, sure. there are a couple things right now that could be dubbed as one person or another's personal problem. But anyway, we just have to make sure when Hunter's here that we keep Hunter quiet when Hunter comes in 2 weeks. So anyway, again, recording on a Monday night to make up for
I have an idea, and I could only do this once or twice. I could use my mini hotel points and get Krista a night away. Get her a night away, and then we can.
That's fine. If it were that big a deal, I would just get her a hotel. Or why wouldn't we get a hotel room and record at the hotel?
Because then Hunter's going to try to fuck us both.
Sure, but I'm pretty sure with the two of us could keep him off of us. I think the two of us together.
That's true.
Regardless,
right.
Just set up and record at the hot tub at the hotel.
We could have a Hunter sandwich.
Right.
Oh man,
I get the elf. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
No, I got you.
So how was your day?
my day was all right.
I can't ask you about your weekend. Right. I thought that you were getting home awfully late when Amanda was texting me earlier.
Yeah, it was like 13-hour day, and then the kids were fucking just miserable assholes all day, so I had to deal with that shit when I got home.
Right.
So it's one of those. Whatever. How was your day, sir? How was your day at your work?
It was fine. Like, it was a decent day at work. I'm sore from, like I was telling you guys Saturday night, from refinishing my dining room floor. Is there a burglary going around somewhere out there?
There's a motorcycle just went by. I'm in the car for anybody.
No, I know you're in the car. Yeah. Anyone that watches the video, he's sitting in his car so he can smoke and not hear bugs.
I don't want my kids to hear me say cunt.
Right. Well, they got to learn somewhere.
Even though they're a couple of little cunts,
Yeah, work was fine. I'm sore just from, like I said the other night, refinishing my dining room floor and Saturday and Sunday. But other than that, I'm fine. Pissed about having to record again on a Monday, and then also pissed that we're not sitting across the table from each other, because I said it earlier, I don't like this. And we may have to do this at some point when you travel a little bit for work and things like that. But
I know. Anyway. But at least we're face to face with the miracle of fucking video conferencing.
Sure. And both my wife and my daughter, I said, when they were going to bed, I said, all right, I got to go let the dogs in, and I got to do a Zoom call. And they both said, why do you have to do a Zoom call? I said, well, because as of right now, we have no episode. We have no episode posted right now for people to listen to, unless you've already downloaded it. Then lucky you got 2 episodes this week. But I said we didn't go a full year recording every week, releasing every week, just to miss the first week of the second year. So
I agree. Yeah, at first Amanda was like, "Fuck," she goes, "You're going back over to Joey's tonight?" She goes, "It's so late," and I was like, "Got to do what I got to do. We gotta get this episode out.
Yeah, you tell her it's her fault. If she hadn't been here, then maybe some things wouldn't have happened. No.
Yeah. So, so I mean, I would have been willing to come over, but for the sake of your family sleeping and it being a work night, like, I get it.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
We can't rub feet under the table though, which is upsetting.
Right. So what'd you eat for dinner?
Pussy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's what I had for dinner last night. Amanda cooked steaks, so
I cooked steaks as well tonight.
Yeah, look at you.
It's what do the Jewish people say? It's a mitzvah.
Yeah. Do we really have this little to talk about?
I think we do, because
I think about steak.
I think because there is something there on the surface that if we weren't sitting in front of microphones that we would be talking about, but because we're sitting in front of microphones, we're not talking about it. And it's still there, at least for me, on the front of my mind. And so,
but at the same time, you're a bitter bitch. You hold grudges way more than I do.
I don't hold grudges, but I get pissed, and it takes me, depending on the issue, I will stay pissed for a little while. But once I'm not pissed anymore, I won't hold a grudge for the most part. For the most part, I'll say that. I mean, there are,
Yeah, I'm already over it
Sure.
because I'm a bigger person.
Yeah, that's for sure. You're a bigger person. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh god. Well, did you watch the SpaceX shit? Yes, was it yesterday when the fucking it was
it
yesterday.
was yesterday as we record this. Yeah. What time was it? Because no, I didn't
The
watch it.
reentry. It was 2:30 when the actual reentry happened.
I was finishing my dining room floors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you missed out on watching history.
Yeah, you're right. I did.
No, I made my kids. They were so pissed. I made everybody put down their fucking phones, and I made everyone sit in the living room and watch it.
So what's funny is I made my kids do that when the statue of Saddam Hussein came down in Iraq.
Oh, nice.
I did, yeah. So, and my wife was like, "I don't think they should be seeing this." I was like, "No, they should be seeing this. This is history being made. This is."
Well, I don't understand people. Like, I get like certain types of violence and shit sheltering kids from, but like, even if they don't understand it, some of that shit's important for them to see. You know, in my opinion.
For sure.
And a big part of it's kind of like said on my stupid fucking tweet today is like they've got to realize at some point the world's a lot goddamn bigger than they are, and the world like the shit happens that goes outside of their fucking phones.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Well, because I refuse to raise my kids like a fucking couple of selfish assholes that don't care about anything but what's going on around them, and surround themselves with people that think exactly the same way as they do and never fucking like challenge themselves. Like fuck that.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I haven't done that, and it's been a while since I've made my kids do anything like that. But my kids are they know about whatever's happening. They either see the videos of it on Twitter or whatever anymore. But I get it.
Well, it's a little harder to call like a 22-year-old son and be like, "Hey, you're coming over to the house tonight."
No, it's I don't think I've done it in years.
Right. It's like, and you're going to watch me and your mom have sex because you need to learn a thing or two about how to treat a woman.
They tell you if you can tie a cherry stem together with your tongue that's a good sign, but that's bullshit. I'm here to show you the right. Now you try.
It's like homeschool all over again.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh Jesus.
That was my sex ed class.
God.
Now flip it over and smack it.
Oh Jesus. Oh.
Yeah, my sister didn't talk to me for a week after that.
Probably not.
Right. Well, in all fairness, I was supposed to pull out.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah. So have you read in? Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Ask me. I need to look up what I'm fixing to say to you.
I was going to ask you, have you read any of the chatter about Rick and Morty season 5?
No, I haven't. What have you heard?
So I was reading a thing the other day, I guess, because they had like Comic-Con with no one there recently. They still had some like virtual panels and shit.
Right.
And I guess Dan Harmon was saying because of how they structured things, they've already written a good chunk of season 5. And with COVID, it's been a little challenging recording it, but they're not anticipating it being nearly as long of a wait as it was up into season 4. Of course, in all fairness, that was like 2 goddamn years.
That's what I was saying. That's a good thing because Jesus Christ, I felt like forever. I mean,
but out of those 2 years, we did get the phrase "cum gutters."
You're right. Yes. So I saw something earlier that's local, and I'm having to find it now. But there it is. So it's the Instagram account Knox Scruff, KNOXSCRUFF. They do a podcast based out of Knoxville as well. Probably have more listeners than us, but
they need
probably
to come on
not as funny as
us. Talk. No, fuck no.
I'm pretty sure that I sent them a message and never heard back. Well, I don't remember for sure.
That tends to be the trend for the most part, because most people they they're like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And then they listen and they're like, yeah, maybe not.
So, I mean, I'm sure they have more listeners than we do, but I bet they're not as funny as we are.
See,
but
and
anyway,
now in all fairness too, hold on. In all fairness to our last guest that wanted us to pull the episode, I do think even though they listened to the content and they knew kind of what they were getting into, I don't think people realize how much we pull people into our sick little fucking bubble.
You know, the thing
and how
is,
we bring out the worst in people.
I don't felt like we pulled her in. I felt like right off the bat, she started out going into us and digging into that hole because that's the atmosphere we present. We present a fun atmosphere.
But that's what I'm saying.
We do have the rare unspoken of gift of the spirit of being able to pull people a little deeper into the hole. Or add to. We have a bigger shovel when the hole starts getting dug. I guess that's the best way to put it.
That's actually good. That's a good analogy, dude. I'm impressed. But I was thinking, you know what, honest to God, we need to start doing is we need to get a fucking waiver that when somebody comes on as a guest, they sign that shit off because we don't edit. We just put it out as it is. Because that includes us putting our own fucking feet in our mouth. Whatever we say is out there. And I think maybe we should start getting people to sign one of those things that said, sorry, you fucking came on. It came out of your mouth. It's there.
Sure, but let's just say we had done that in this situation. Would we? I think we would still be sitting here recording this now through Zoom on Monday.
Possible.
Yeah.
Possible. But in all fairness, I also owed that person kind of a favor. And so it you know, I didn't feel as bad.
I got
it. So
sure.
Yeah. But I mean, but I'm talking by signing a waiver too. I mean, in advance. So if somebody shows up already drinking or whatnot, like, because that would negate that. So if it's signed in advance via email, PDF, what the fuck ever.
Yeah, there are people out there that do that have a form on their website that they fill out.
I think it would behoove us.
I guess it could, sure. But I that's one of those things where I feel weird asking people to do that. But, you know, whatever.
See, I don't. I'd be like, because you'd be like, hey, we get into some shit. You know, you can either, you know, not come on or think about what you're going to say or let it fucking fly. Either way, this is what's going down, you know?
Yeah. Well,
but maybe we're not at that point of our lives yet. You know, we're not that popular.
Maybe not, but, you know.
We should be, God damn it.
I don't know.
So you know what? Yeah, what pisses me off is we have a steady listener group, which, by the way, our Irish is over 1% now. I don't know if you saw that.
Is it? I haven't looked at the countries.
Yeah, it's not less than 1. It is now an over 1%.
Over, so it it says 2% or it says 1%.
It says over 1, like greater than 1. Everything else is always less than. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because it has said 1% for a while.
Yeah. So it's not a lot of listenership, but that means we have at least one person listening fucking regularly in Ireland, which is fucking cool.
Right. And we have at least a couple people that listen periodically in England and Scotland. So those are the 3 European countries I would like to get the most.
Look at us being a couple international bitches.
We're diplomatic.
Yeah, right? We're basically an embassy.
We're ambassadors. That's what I was going to say. We're ambassadors to the U.S. So.
But I was going to say, though, one thing that it irks me deep down is the fact that I know we have a handful of people that listen to this shit on a regular basis that we don't know. Obviously, those fucking assholes aren't sharing this podcast. They're keeping it to their goddamn selves, and that upsets me.
They're also not communicating. Communication's not they're not interacting with us online.
Right.
Or at least if they are, then they're interacting with us in the form of other podcasts or other businesses or something. So
right. But there's 2 reasons for that, I think. One is we're intimidating as fuck because we're awesome. Two, we're probably their only fucking friends. Like that's our group. Is like all we have is each other, and so that's kind of.
So let me clear this up for those people listening. I'm not your fucking friend. Let me just clear that up right now. I'm not your friend. I got enough friends, don't need any more. I just need loyal listeners. If you feel the need to tell everybody that we're your friends, that's fine. That's fine. You can introduce me as your friend.
Yeah. It'll just be like the end of the episode that did get aired when I told you I loved you and you're just like, okay. Yep.
Oh God.
Have you ever had, well, I guess you've been married since you were fucking 10, so it doesn't count. But
no, go ahead. Whatever you gonna say.
Like I've had like in my life a girlfriend or whatnot that I was like, oh, you know what? And that moment comes like, oh, I love you, and they're just like, cool. All right, there's that.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, I've done that in reverse too.
Have
like,
you?
I really love. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
like,
funny.
oh, I appreciate. I'm not the best ones. I said I appreciate that.
Oh my God. So
I appreciate your emotional vulnerability that I will not return.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me know where I stand as far as getting in your pants.
It's like, bitch, you just dickmatized.
Dickmatized, good Lord. Oh, so back to Knox Scruff.
Oh yeah, sorry.
They interviewed the co-founder of the Casual Pint recently, and his name is Nathan Robinette, and he told Knox Scruff that the Casual Pint Bearden and the Casual Pint Fountain City locations are going to stay open despite Knox County orders to close bars. And he, quote, said, "I'll draw the line in the sand. I am defying the order. If the health department officials want to try and enforce fines or otherwise, I am more than prepared to then counter with a lawsuit, and they can go from there." Let's see. He also said,
ballsy.
Explaining local businesses have been following orders and doing everything they can to keep people safe and employed. It is ballsy, but I like that. I mean, if they're doing everything they can to keep people safe, and also, like you said, keep people employed, but he's keeping his employees and his patrons safe, I'm all for it. Like,
right.
Most businesses, especially small businesses, they cannot withstand this long shutdown of cutting their business in half.
Right.
And
I understand that. I will say though that if that is the case, I feel like he should be liable if somebody in his employee or customer gets COVID there and finds out if there's an outbreak at his place.
Most businesses are liable if an employee gets it for something like that. As far as customers go, I don't know if a business is or isn't, but again, I don't know. I don't think he should be liable because he's not making for customers. He shouldn't be. He's not making the customers come in. They're making a conscious choice to go into that business. Employees,
but
that's different.
But he's also making a conscious decision to defy a regulation. So
sure, but
it's kind of a double-edged sword.
His defiance of regulation isn't making people come in. Is the thing. People because I guarantee that if he opened up and nobody came there, he would cut his hours back or shut down to save the money on electricity and payroll.
Right,
but yeah, I think his employees, absolutely, he should be liable. But he should be liable for that. But not customers because it's their choice to go in there. You're an adult. You chose to go to a bar knowing what the county was mandating. It's your responsibility.
Yeah, see, I'm torn on a lot of that shit. Like, good for him, but at the same time, like when they had mandatory masks or supposedly like whatever, nobody enforces it for anybody. And so
only your big companies, your Walmarts and Targets.
They're not enforcing it.
The Walmart in Turkey Creek is enforcing it.
I guarantee you don't see anybody walking around with no mask or their mask pulled down.
Well, they're making people, if they're not letting people in the door. Now, as far as if someone takes it off once they get in, I don't know how they're handling that, but I have seen them stop people at the door and say, you have to go put a mask on before you can come in here. But
no, I've seen that, but then you go in and fucking half the people either have it pulled down around their neck or aren't wearing it at all, and nobody enforces that, asks them to leave, any of that shit.
Sure.
And because people are instructed, employees are, to be like, hey, you can't approach people, ask them to leave, you can't do
Sure.
any of that shit. And so it's like, so what the fuck's the point?
No, I mean, I get that, and I don't disagree with that. I just think I'm not torn by letting a business choose to do something like that. As long as their employees are covered, if something happens to the employee, to me, it's the
Yeah,
customer's
but I
responsibility.
guess then, but what if you have an employee because they got to work? But what if one of them comes in anyway, knowing they have COVID, and gives it to customers? Even though they're willingly coming in, if that's not taking proper precautions, there's no way to do that. I'm saying there's no good way to do any of this shit.
Yeah, there's definitely there's no magic pill or
Right.
there's no perfect
Well,
solution to this, but there are things that work better than others. I mean, it's just like
yeah,
for
but
me to go into work, I have to go online and answer multiple 7 or 8 questions every morning before I am allowed to go into work. I have to go online, fill out the form, and then show them where it says I passed when I get there. And they provided us all with thermometers that are fucking retarded anyway.
But the entire purpose of that is to remove them from any liability of you coming into work and spreading that shit.
Sure, it is, and I'm fine with that. I mean,
but I think the big problem and why we've had such a big problem with this shit in the States, though, is because I mean, in a one of the downsides to being in a capitalistic society is there's no government stepping for anything. So like it fucks everybody over having to shut down because the countries that have had the best luck getting rid of this shit is the ones that could actually fucking straight up quarantine, period. And they did, but then people didn't have to worry about being fucking homeless and not paying bills and companies going under and all that shit. And so between that and then our fucking overinflated sense of freedom, like it's America's either going to have to run its course or it's going to get worse. Like there's no in between on that shit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I just, as far as the business goes, I mean, if he wants to stay open and be safe, let him. But I don't think he's responsible for the customer. I think, but also on what you said, if an employee knowingly comes in with COVID, that's not his fault either. I mean, aside from you could say he's open, but I mean, you could also then blame that on the government for not enacting martial law and telling everyone to stay home.
Yeah,
I mean, you could blame that on
it's a cascading thing.
It is. There's no great solution for it. That's why I think it's a shame you can't rely on your citizens to use common sense, but you can't,
especially in the South.
That's exactly what I was going to say, especially in the South. It's not quite as bad here in Knoxville as it is in some other places, but it's still bad in some areas of Knoxville.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it boils down to just people being fucking stupid, really.
Yeah.
And I've gone back and forth. Like I'm of two different opinions. Like one of them is like, yeah, the whole COVID thing is there's so much like bad information from all sides of the media on it that's just stupid one way or the other. But the fact is, like, you've known, your mom had it, and it's no fucking joke. This shit will fuck you up.
And it's weird the way it affects some people so bad, like her, but then her husband and my youngest sister, it really didn't affect them that bad. Like they felt sick, but like she was like, Jesus Christ. I mean,
right. And well, some people too, they have like permanent damage to their taste buds and all kinds of weird shit. But where the fuck was I going with that? But like, so part of me is like, I get quarantining, I get all this shit. And then part of me, the fucking anarchy, fucking nihilist side is like, just fucking let it run its course. Let the people that die, and let the people that don't, like survival of the fittest kind of shit. But I'm not selfish about it. I include myself in that number. Like if I fucking get it, then I fucking die. At least, the disease runs its course.
Part of me wants to just get it. Part of me just wants to get it and go through it and get over it and be done with it, and then not have to be concerned about it, which I know we don't know if you can get it again or not. But part of me wants to get it and just get it over with and be done with it, because I've heard some experts say everyone will have it at some point, and then I've heard some experts say no, we can keep people from getting it. I don't think we can.
Like even the CDC has changed their minds 1,000. Like really nobody knows what the fuck they're talking
about. Fauci the other day was on some news program or something, I don't know, press conference, I don't know, and he said right now gatherings in large numbers is a bad idea. Don't do it. Everybody needs to wear a mask. Don't gather in large groups. And somebody asked him about the people out protesting, and he wouldn't give an answer, which is, I mean, I'm all about people going out and protest if they want to protest, but I think if you're going to say no large groups, then you got to say no large groups across the board.
Right.
Or, you know, or just don't say no large groups. Just say, probably not a good idea, but, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's too many different, there's too many different talking points coming from too many different
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just tired of the whole goddamn thing. I'm like, you know, we're due for something. Like, if a quarter of the population of the world got wiped out, would it really be that bad of a thing? Really?
No, I mean, it may.
Other than a bunch of sad people because they lost loved ones. Outside of that bullshit,
sure.
Like, it would be good for the Earth to lose a good chunk of our population.
Yeah, it would be our generation's Genghis Khan. So, I mean, which is an interesting thing. You know, Genghis Khan, his groups, his whatever you want to call them,
his squad,
squad goals, man. his squad, his group killed so many people that it altered the carbon footprint of the Earth during that time, which is fucking intense, man.
Because he was a motherfucking boss.
Oh yeah, he didn't give a shit. I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and meet anyone from any time period, who would it be?
Oh shit, Jesus.
Oh my God, you could meet him now, brother.
If I could fucking catch the COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I've thought about that some, and I don't know. There's a few that would be sweet to hang out with, I think. But
yeah, for me, it depends.
Like drinking with Hemingway. How fucking badass would that be?
That would be, that would be fun. Just hanging out in Cuba.
Yeah, right. Fucking yeah.
Wait a minute, was Hemingway Cuba? Did he spend spend a lot of time in Cuba? Was that Hemingway? Who was it?
Oh, fucking no.
I'm pretty sure it was Hemingway. But regardless.
And then I don't know. There's a few people it'd be fun to go back in time and do drugs with. I'd be down for that. Like, part of me I would like to meet Hitler.
Sure. I would like to meet Hitler.
I think that would be a very interesting interaction.
Would you kill him as a baby? Would you go back in time and kill him as a baby?
As much as I love killing babies, I don't know, because would we be where we're at today that's the thing about some of that shit. Like, you look back and these awful atrocities were committed, but all of those things brought us to like the technology we have today. Right. A lot of that shit, it's this weird part of human evolution that we grow and learn from shit like that. So I'm not saying that I'm glad the Holocaust happened, but like, we wouldn't have put fucking people into space had we not had World War II and the Nazis' advancements with.
We wouldn't have submarines.
Yeah, I mean, we might at some point. I mean, that's not saying nobody would have invented it, but yeah, it's weird. Like, all of that shit, like all these, like Genghis Khan, like everybody now you talk about, he was this warlord, and you learn about like his great military tactics, all that stuff. But I would imagine the rest of the world wasn't too stoked about him wiping out so many goddamn people.
Probably not. Oh, the hippies were, I'm sure.
Right. And one thing you talk about, like the fucking Romans, right, and their rule and the shit that they gave us as far as aqueducts and the expansions in technology that they made, but they were a bunch of fucking like all this horrible shit. But it's still part of human evolution. So, and again, that's not saying these people aren't fucking pure evil, but it's also been like they've served a purpose in the overall scheme of the universe. And in fucking a million years, when the world explodes, it's not going to fucking matter anyway.
Right. All right. Yeah, you're right. Do you think that the world will eventually just eat us all like that? Do you think the Earth will finally do that, or do you think that we will be our own demise?
I think we'll be our own, and maybe it'll be a combination. Because, like, take global warming, for instance. Like, people are all about fucking that shit. And, like, I believe a lot of it is cyclical. Like, it's not all, but I don't believe we fucking help it. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a lot of shit that we do to fuck that stuff up. And so, I don't know, like, the nature could revolt, but I think it'll be a combination of the two. Like, us fucking the world up so bad, it fucks us. and then and then just the general shittiness, because every generation, major generation, has talked about like, oh, the one before it, or things are getting ruined, or things are bad, the end of the world's coming, whatever. But there's never really been a point in history that, like, I'm sure there has been. I'm speaking out of my ass,
Now,
but
go ahead. What were you going to say? A
it's
point in history that what?
that I don't feel like that, because part of it is we have such a large population on Earth right now, and the amount of discord between people in general has got to be an all-time high.
You think so?
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I'm not talking about one people group against another people group. I'm
Yeah,
talking
I would say
individuals.
just general discord. It feels like it for sure. Just the two
How
political
about
parties
this?
in the U.S. feels that way, but
A general disconnection. How's that?
that for sure. Because I do think that we're living in one of the most tolerant times in history, for sure. But as far as a
I think it's
disconnection,
false tolerance.
I think there is some false tolerance, but I think overall we're a pretty tolerant,
I don't
especially
know.
in. It doesn't sound like it because the idiots on both sides that
Well, no,
the
I think
loudest
most of it
people,
is. Well, I think most of it's fear-based tolerance.
maybe. Well, I don't know that I would say most of it is,
I would.
because generally the people that I meet and know are very tolerant people. They may not want to
Outwardly.
participate in any of it, but
Well,
they're
they are outwardly, but because every single fucking person is racist and intolerant and fucking something on the inside. Every single goddamn person. I don't
yes,
care who you
everybody
are.
has a little bit of at least a small amount of intolerance. I mean, everyone
Right.
does. I mean,
Right.
you can be the most tolerant person in the world, but you're intolerant of people that have differing
Right.
opinions of yours.
But
But I'm talking
my
about. Go
mhm.
ahead.
No. I'm saying, like, no. I get as a whole, but where we're at as far as, like, you, if there is some shit that you're intolerant towards or don't like, you can't speak out about it. You're forced into a state of tolerance for the sake of keeping a job, for the sake of keeping friends, for the sake of whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Because both of us, I would consider very tolerant people. I've have friends and people that I really, I say, care about in my own fucking way, that across that run the spectrum of all kinds of fucking sexual orientations and identifications to race, whatever the fuck it is. Um, have all that shit, but I can joke with them directly, but there's some jokes I wouldn't make just because of the consequence it would have. you know and same thing with you. I mean, I know how tolerant of a person you are. Like, I accept people how they are, you accept people how they are. But there's still shit that would come out of our mouths that we won't fucking say, just because of the cultural blowback that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. But do you think the things that we would say are things that we truly believe at our core, or the things we would just say because it's going to get a reaction from someone?
Well, that we think it's funny or whatever. Like
Sure.
we've said before, like, I think racial humor is one of the it's hilarious to me, and
Yeah,
really dark, morbid
any
humor.
humor regarding stereotypes is funny to me. I mean,
Well,
but just because you don't say it doesn't mean you're in. I mean, just because you say it doesn't mean you're intolerant. But just because you don't say it doesn't mean you're tolerant. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
But
I
I don't know,
just
I guess too. But maybe there's certain things that we'll talk about off mic that we really, lack of a better word, have a problem with. But we're never going to act on that. It's never
sure.
going to be something that we're going to throw out there. But but that's everybody. And so, like, okay, maybe intolerant was the wrong word to use. Let me rephrase: intolerant of other people's beliefs, not so much their orientation, their race, skin color, whatever the fuck it is. But there's a lot of intolerance towards political biases, towards opinions, towards religious beliefs. Like, that is a big form of discord with
It is a
most
big
people.
form of discord. I do believe that to use the word you used earlier, the disconnection is maybe
Right.
the greatest it's ever been. But I also think when it comes to tolerance and even maybe a little bit of discord, that it seems like it's worse than it is because the idiots on both sides of the spectrum are the
Yeah.
loudest.
I
And
would
so it
absolutely
makes
agree
it
with that.
sound worse than it is, and the media doesn't help it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
No.
having a conversation with somebody earlier about at work about media, and they said, "No, you can't trust that." And I said, "You can't trust." They said to someone else, "You can't trust NPR. It's too biased. You
Right.
can't trust NPR." I'm like, "Yeah, you can't trust any major news source right now.
No.
None.
You really can't trust any news
It's
source.
hard to trust any news source, but for sure the big corporate news outlets,
Yeah.
their news used to be strictly that news. Your news departments didn't sell ad time. They didn't do anything like that. They cost the stations money, and
Mm-hmm.
that was just an accepted thing.
And fucking
You,
Ted Turner to come and stick a dick in it.
yeah. And now the news shows, the news programs, whatever you want to call them, are now moneymakers for the stations. And so
Right.
they know that they got to spin the news a certain way or only do certain stories so that they get more listeners, so that they get more
And
advertising dollars. And it's
advertisements.
fucked. It's fucked the
Yeah.
rest of us over.
Now, have you ever seen any of the clips? And I've always found this super fucking interesting. But the compilations put together of news broadcasts all around the country that are saying the exact same thing, the exact same script. Have you ever watched any of that shit?
I think I've seen one or two videos like that.
Dude, look it up. It's fucking
It's
crazy.
like the
I'm talking, you'll
Methodist
have,
Church.
yeah, exactly. But you'll have like six or more, like who the fuck knows, but like TV news stations, like reading the exact same news story verbatim.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them get their news. Like one person writes a news story and then sells it to all of the different outlets
Right.
or
Yeah.
whatever, however you want to put it. But
Well, there was, and we've talked about this before, and I cannot remember what the fucking name of the operation is, but they embedded intentionally CIA agents into news media outlets to help spread propaganda for different things like that, misinformation, whatever the case may be. And if you don't think that shit still goes on, you're fucking stupid.
hold on, say that one more time.
So there was an actual operation, and I can't remember what the fucking name of it was. They implanted CIA agents
Yeah.
into
Okay.
media stations. They say if you don't think that shit still goes on, like government manipulated media, then you're
Sure.
fucking stupid. And
Yeah.
people don't believe that happens. They don't believe our government would do that. And I was like, read the history of the shit the government's done to the American people. It's fucked.
Yeah. Well, most people believe our government would do it, but they don't believe their political party would be involved in it.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you watch the Manchurian Candidate. I mean,
Yeah.
and,
Well, it's like
that
I
shit's
tell
based on something.
people. Well, like I just tell people too, like I'll try to tell them, like, you realize in the, was it the 40s or 50s when the government injected like a whole bunch of like a big black community with syphilis and didn't
Yeah.
treat it and just observed to see what the fuck would happen? I'm like, come on, man. Like
Yeah.
that shit was back then. Like you don't think that happens now. Like that's ridiculous.
I'm sure something like that happens something along those
Yeah.
lines. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard
Yeah.
any of the COVID conspiracies? Some of them are fucking crazy.
No, I just get tired of conspiracies the last year or so. It's just some of them catch my eye and I can
Well, see, but
dive
most
into it,
things
but
now aren't conspiracies. They're just misinformation by stupid people that have thought up some whatever,
right.
or they heard something or a piece of something. Like you don't have any. Like when was the last time there's a really good big conspiracy for the U.S.? 9/11 probably was the last big conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, no, Bin Laden. Bin
Yeah,
Laden. There
that's
was a
true.
there was a lot of talk that he didn't get killed.
Right, and
But anyway,
that's in the same ballpark
I don't think that
timeline
was
wise.
as big as the 9/11 thing because that still is going on. But yeah, I
Yeah,
remember Bin Laden.
but there are some convincing arguments, on both sides for the whole Twin Towers thing.
Jet fuel don't melt steel, brother.
Right. Well, my biggest thing was after being in some of the facilities I was in when I was in the military, is knowing how well they track um, all the flights in the U.S. at any given moment.
Sure.
Like that's when I was like, like if it had been like they had grabbed a couple cestas, whatever, and then I'd be like, okay, I could see that shit getting through, but fucking
Yeah,
like
but now
major
you
airliners,
went through all that after 9/11 when
right,
things changed. Because things did
right,
change. But,
right,
I think that's
true,
part of the thing is like we just no one did that. I mean, people hijacked planes and would fly to Cuba just to get some money or whatever, but
right.
we hadn't really dealt, at least on that scale, people willing to kill themselves to inflict terror. I mean, it happens with suicide bombers, but it's not a suicide bomber. It's still not the same thing as taking over a plane and flying it into a building. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, the same type of thing, even though there weren't civilians involved, but fucking Pearl Harbor was the same way. And the U.S. government knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen before it fucking happened.
right. But that's a generation or two before us. I mean, we thought that kind of
principle.
I understand that, but I'm saying I think that our parents and even us as young adults, when 9/11 happened, we thought that the world had progressed past shit like that. We would have never thought that there could be another Pearl Harbor.
My personal stance on it is, however you like, whether inside job, whatever, I don't know, but I do think that they knew some shit like that was coming and let it happen as an excuse to get into a lot of the shit in Afghanistan and all that stuff. I believe it was allowed to happen.
I think that they knew something was coming. I don't think they knew what. Yeah. I don't think they knew what, but I think that they knew something was happening. But, Ollie North tried to warn the Congress about Osama bin Laden 10 or 15 years before 9/11 ever happened. They laughed him out. It's an interesting situation, but
all that shit's weird.
Yeah.
But really what it boils down to is the government doesn't give a shit about anybody except for themselves. And like what kills me is the U.S. government and the military sells this ideal to young kids that are zealous to go and fight the enemy and, serve your country and this and that. But really, every fucking war since, God, I would even say that the fucking Revolutionary War to a point have all been fucking based on money, currency. They're all been over profit and loss. Like there's been no war over actual fucking freedom.
Yeah.
That's just the shit that's sold. Like they're all about money. Everyone has been.
Yeah. I could see where that's an underlying thing on most, if not all, wars. I think I could make the argument for some that freedom was part of it, but I think that the money and power is a bigger thing.
I think freedom is the Kool-Aid that's given out to sell the war, so to speak. Because Revolutionary Wars to get out from under the taxes of Britain, more or less, and their rule, and having to pay their shit. The Civil War, even though it was about freeing the slaves and freedom, was based on economy, essentially. The South prospering because of free labor and the North not. That was a big fucking chunk of it. Afghanistan, all that was all about the poppy and the oil. I was trying to think of anyone, or land, or whatever the case may be. It's all been over some type of value or monetary gain. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, it makes
it's the Rothschilds.
sense.
If the Rothschilds, dude, have you read any of the Rothschild conspiracies about some of the war shit? Like,
no.
Like one of the things, I'm going to misquote some of this, but almost every major war or conflict or something we've been involved in, like where we've destabilized a country, have all been places that the Rothschilds did not have a banking system. And then after the invasion, war, whatever, they did. And so there's this conspiracy that they're one of the families that are pulling the strings, Illuminati, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's pushing for some of this shit.
Well, sure. I mean, you had multiple families back in the day. I mean, there was a docuseries. I can't remember what channel it was on, and I didn't watch it, but it was like The Men Who Built America. I mean, that kind of, the Vanderbilts and the Rothschilds and shit. There's another big family I can't think of.
The Winklers.
Yeah, Winklers. Rosenblatts. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. So, I don't know. I don't know where I was going before we started talking about that.
I don't know where we've been going this whole fucking time. No, I do feel like we pulled some things out of our ass pretty well tonight, though.
I feel like we have as well. So I was going to do these Saturday. So this is the other door God's opening for me to be able to do these 3 news stories tonight. So
can I say one more thing before you get it? God damn it! You jumped the gun.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just let's push your agenda, just like the fucking Democrats. Just push your fucking agenda on me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know we were going to talk about this in another episode, but just a quick opinion on yours. What are your thoughts on the fucking like UFO videos and aliens and shit?
I'm always wary when the government freely tells us something.
Right.
So,
I feel like that had to be addressed because they got leaked originally. Well, they might have leaked them themselves.
That's what I was going to say. Did they, or did some fake shit get leaked?
Well, supposedly
leaked by
Tom
the government.
DeLonge, old Blink 182 guy, got a hold of that shit first because that was on a. I saw those same videos a couple years.
Did Mark Hoppus help him?
Maybe,
because that's the only way that Tom DeLonge gets anything done worth doing.
Right. Well, what's his age again?
Yeah. Have you heard the new Angels and Airwaves song?
No, God, no.
It's not that good.
No. Anyway, go ahead. Let's do the news.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right.
Oh, hey, wait, one more thing.
Too late now. I'm over halfway done with it. So, let me get that loaded up here. All right. So, Apple could pay you $25 as part of a settlement for slowing down their phones. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah. So, some iPhone owner, they still make a damn good phone and computer, though.
Yes, they do. I don't know why anybody would own an Android phone. I really don't.
So, when the thumbprint thing, I think it was, came about, one of the guys at work who's an Android guy, me and another guy were talking about, it's so nice to have the thumbprint, to unlock the phone now. And he said, you Apple boys, Android's been doing that for a long time, or something like that. Or it may not have been the thumbprint, it may have been something else. And I said, I know, but you guys have been fucking with viruses for a long time, and there's not a single Apple person that's ever got a virus on the straight up phone. Maybe if you jailbreak it, you can get a virus, but still, I mean,
yeah. Well, the thing is, I always talked about is like, yeah, other people are quicker to the gun with the technology. Most Android phones and shit, but Apple fucking locks it down when they do it. Like it's perfection. Like I never once had an issue with a phone not recognizing my thumbprint unless I had like cum on it or some shit. Like it's always been perfect. You know? Or like the wireless charging. Like that was a thing that's been around for a while, but fucking wireless charging on the phones, it charges it so fucking fast.
Yeah. So the Face ID thing is because I can set up I can set it up to recognize me with glasses, without glasses, sunglasses. It doesn't matter. The only thing you can't do is with the mask on. But once the mask,
me with a cigarette in my mouth.
Exactly. So when the mask became prevalent through COVID, I mean, Apple was Johnny on the spot with an update to their OS so that it would time out quicker so that you could put your password in rather than, I mean, they're just on top of shit. They don't push shit out that's not ready to go out. It's not to say that how professional of you to mute your mic when you cough.
Right.
You don't do that shit here.
I go away. We got good fucking gates on those mics. I did cough once earlier and I didn't catch it, but whatever.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, Apple they don't just push something out for the sake of getting it out there. Now, that's not to say there's not going to be bugs with something. Everything has bugs.
With the exception when they first rolled out fucking Apple Maps. That shit sucked so many balls.
And see, I didn't get an iPhone until the 3GS came out. So I went 3 years. Was it? See, I don't remember, and I didn't use it very much anyway. But like, I didn't get an iPhone until 2010. So iPhone had been out for 3 years before I ever got one.
Which is funny to me because Google makes so many fucking great things. Like, Google Drive is fantastic. Gmail is the fucking email standard of the universe.
Right.
Their Google Maps is fantastic, but anything outside of that is just fucking awful.
Oh, yeah?
I think so. Like, did you ever mess with the Google phones?
No, but I was interested in the Pixel when it first came out, but I just
They're
can't
fucking awful.
tear myself away from an iPhone.
No, and the fucking Chromebooks, they fucking suck.
Now, the downside that I will say to Apple's products is they're fucking expensive.
Right.
I mean, that
They are.
shit's going to cost you a kidney. I mean, it's expensive.
Right.
I mean,
But
who would
in
have
all
thought we'd have
fairness,
ever paid $1,000? And that's a cheap phone now, $1,000
yeah.
for a cell phone.
But really, in all fairness, up until the X came out that raised it up that much, like in general, when a new product came out, it replaced at about the same price point as the one
Sure.
before. The X is when they first did it, and I feel like that they realized, hey, we can get away with that shit, and they just progressively raised stuff. Like MacBook now, like a MacBook Air when they came out was a fairly reasonable for what it was. I mean, it was expensive because it's Apple, but it wasn't nearly like it is now. Now it's like fucking $1,500, $2,000 for a fucking MacBook Air.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I could use a new MacBook Pro, but I'm just not willing to pay $2,100, and that's for the base model Pro. I mean,
Yeah,
just not
yeah.
willing to
Like,
pay
well,
that
the
right
ones at
now.
work they got us, they give us the fully fucking loaded. Like my laptop that I have for
It's
work
probably
is like a fucking
$5,000. Yeah,
yeah, it's $4 or $5 laptop.
yeah,
Now we did just today got some old remember the cylinder fucking Mac Pros?
yes.
We had two of those come in that we're not using. I'm thinking about seeing if I can nab one, and because running fucking Pro Tools 11 and Logic on that shit'll scream.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I got choked on beer. Anyway, so if you own an iPhone, if you owned any iPhone 6 that ran iOS 10.2.1 or later, or any iPhone 7 that ran iOS 11.2 or later before December 21st, 2017, you could qualify for the payment as part of a $500 million settlement that Apple agreed to in March. It's basically saying that they purposely slowed down phones.
Which they did.
Yeah.
I can remember saying that when I had one of those. I was like, this got really fucking slow. Like, this is not.
Well,
And I feel like almost. Oh,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say my 11 Pro that I got in, I don't remember when I got it. February, March, I don't remember. Like it now even feels like it's slow at times.
I wonder too if they do that with their MacBooks, because like my MacBook now is like yours is too. Like it's so fucking slow. And granted, some of it is the processor and everything trying to run the new OS's updates. You know, I get that, but still, like comparatively when I got it, it's fucking miserable slow.
Yeah, I mean, mine is 7 years old now. I mean, it's time to get a new one, but I feel like that I could just buy more RAM and put it on there and buy a new battery and just be
I'm
fine.
really tempted to take my work laptop, set up a second profile on it, and I can reload Logic and shit onto that motherfucker because I'd like a 4 terabyte hard drive on the goddamn thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let me do this story now. I'll do the other one last because maybe we'll talk about it a little longer.
By the way, are we gonna take any breaks tonight? Or are we just gonna push on through?
No, we might as well push on through. This will probably be a shorter than normal episode, but yeah, we'll just push on through. It'll be fine. The CDC warns Congress of significant public health consequences if schools don't reopen in the fall.
What?
This is from CNBC. The CDC warned Congress that there could be significant public health consequences if they don't reopen schools this fall. Millions of children get nutritional and mental health services at schools. CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield told a House Select Subcommittee hearing on containing the coronavirus outbreak. He said, it's important to realize that it's in the public health's best interest for K-12 students to get back into face-to-face learning. He said he wants school reopenings to be done smartly. Let's see here. Significant public health consequences. There's really very significant public health consequences of the school closure. About 7.1 million kids get their mental health service at schools. They get their nutritional support from their schools. And he said, we're seeing an increase in drug use disorder as well as suicide in adolescent individuals. I do think that it's really important to realize it's not public health versus the economy about school reopening.
Right.
I saw a clip from, I don't know if it was MSNBC or CNN or what. I don't know. I don't remember where it was, but I saw a clip where they had some doctors on talking about coronavirus and schools and whatnot. And the thing that stood out to me is funny is because when they asked this question to the doctors on there, they didn't get the answer that they thought. They didn't get the answer that they wanted. But they asked the doctors, the last thing was, would you send your kids back to school this August if they open, this fall, whatever they said, if they open? And every one of them said 100% without a doubt, I would send my kids back to school. It's the better thing for them. And the look on their faces, they were flabbergasted. They did not expect that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm picking one point out that's not pertinent to the story, but the fact that they say that I want to know what the fuck kind of mental health help kids are getting at school. It's not much, if any, or good.
Yeah, probably not at a public school for sure.
No, it's hard as an adult to get decent mental health care, much less fucking as a kid. Oh, I did read an interesting thing about pack mentality and how humans are social creatures, and one of the reasons that that suicide, especially in teens, has skyrocketed and gone up so much is because there's no community anymore. People aren't going out and being together. It's all disconnected via phone. And even though they're playing games and shit like that, there's no actual like in-person human connection, which we're made like, so we're essentially pack animals. And I think that's a really interesting concept.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, no matter what kind of interaction they're having with their friends or other people through video games and phones and things like that, TikTok and whatnot, it's not the same as being face to face with someone. No, you can't read body language if you're not face to face. I mean, there's so much to be said.
Well, usually conversation ends up just being about whatever the fuck you're playing, doing, whatever. There's no like learning, growing, I don't know. It's weird. Plus just general, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but like certain types of people, yeah, whatever. Like me and you, like we like hanging out, but I'm just as happy not hanging out with you and texting occasionally. You know what I mean? It's just, it just depends.
Yeah,
but, I mean, because like I'm not a social person, but I'm also fucked up.
I don't consider myself a social person, but I need to get out of the house occasionally. I need to get out and go to a bar or something like that. Even if I don't speak to a single person other than the bartender, I got to get out of the house and going to the grocery store ain't it. I got to get out of the house sometimes and do that. So I do like the hanging out and things like that. I mean, but again, that's one of the things that's different about the two of us. But
see, I have Jesus. I mean, I can spend time with my Heavenly Father anytime I want.
I've spent so much time with him. I don't. Yeah.
You're tired of him.
It's not that I'm tired of him, but I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. Thou shalt not kill. There shalt. The last thing on this article I'll leave with is he said, Redfield, we think that if you do 5 things, we can accomplish as much as we did as shutting down this nation. He said, the face mask, the social distancing, the hand hygiene, staying smart about gatherings, and stay out of crowded bars and crowded restaurants. If we did those 5 things, we've done modeling data, we get the same bang for the buck as if we just shut the entire economy down. So,
well, the funny thing is with that too, they talk about social distancing and shit like that, but most schools don't have the space to do any type of actual social distancing because of the amount of kids that they have going there.
Right.
Which I find that to be interesting too, because that's one reason they gave the kids a choice here, because like they said straight up, like if you come here, like we can't do it. We don't have enough space. We don't have the resources, whatever the fuck it may be. I get the food thing for sure, because a lot of kids that are poor and shit get their food, like nutritional food, through schools. But some of that I look as a parental problem as well.
I definitely look at it as a parental problem. I mean, if you can't give your kids a boiled egg and an apple,
Right.
should you really have kids? You should have thought about. I'm not saying the government should take your kids away. I'm saying that you shouldn't have been having kids. That's right. What I'm saying. So
yeah, but not all the time. That doesn't always. It's not always a choice when the kids come around. Yeah, you chose to do some fucking, but
sure, yeah, you chose to have sex. You chose to not protect yourself, right. or you didn't. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Get accidents too. Sometimes, and you can be completely safe and birth control, condom, the whole nine, and shit still happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
but one of the things
my wife was on birth control with all 3 kids. So
yeah, well, I've told you just got some fucking potent man juice. But what's one thing I've told Eli, because he's getting older, and like we've always been pretty open about talking about sex and shit at the house. Like it's not like a taboo thing. So that's actually been good overall. But I was telling him, I was like, dude, like sex is awesome. Like, you definitely want to bone some chicks. But I was like, you have to realize though that anytime you do, like, you got to be ready that if she gets knocked up, then you got to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And that's always a risk having sex. Like always, there's no way to 100% guarantee.
No, yeah, no.
But, I mean, without a clothes hanger handy, that's obviously you can, but even then you're just, taking care of the pregnancy and not,
right,
preventing it.
It's manning up. That's all it is.
Yeah.
No, I just,
especially if you do it yourself.
That's the thing. Yeah, for sure. That's the thing about, that kids don't understand most of the time is that they think about, well, she's on birth control, so that's fine. It's like, that fails more than anything, just about. I mean,
right.
Short of,
I read this crazy article, and they said that the best form of birth control is to pull out. But they said that most people pull out way too late, like, and then that the damage is done.
Yeah, I mean, fine. I don't know that I believe that that's the best form of birth control, but
not the best form, the most effective.
Like, and I don't know that. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that I believe that.
Right.
But whatever. All right, the last story I've got here, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but this was interesting to me.
Stop me if you've heard this one.
Yeah. Joe Rogan is moving to Texas in search of, quote, a little bit more freedom. Did you hear about this?
Yep, I heard about that through Alyssa Milano.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. She did not understand why he had 3 times the amount of listeners as her. Maybe because he's 30 times more interesting than her.
Right. But, dude, and that was one thing she was getting replied. It's like, he only has like 3 times more listeners. Like he has like 10 or 20 times more listeners.
Oh, at least. Yeah. So I saw something, and it may be in this article. I don't know. But we'll see in a minute. If not, I'll give you the number in a second. But so Joe Rogan is moving to Texas in search of a little bit more freedom. He announced the news of his relocation from Los Angeles to Texas last week on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, which I love Joe Rogan. I love listening to his podcast. I still only ever listen to it depending on who's on there. I have too many other podcasts I listen to, but when I listen to it, I'm never disappointed. The move likely comes as a little surprise to Rogan's fans, given the popular comedian and commentator has previously hinted at relocating to the Lone Star State, according to The Hill. So this is from the Cron, where this news story is coming from. Rogan cited, the Chronic. Yeah, Rogan cited overpopulation, traffic, economic despair, and his need for a little bit more freedom among the reasons for his decision. The 52-year-old, who's also a UFC commentator and a goddamn good one too, reportedly stands to save millions of dollars in taxes because of the move. He signed a deal in May with Spotify for more than $100 million to air his podcast exclusively on the streaming service beginning in September.
Now, does that affect his live videos on YouTube?
I don't know. Haven't heard whether it does or not. I do know that he retained all creative control over the podcast and who his guests are and whatever. So I do know they just bought the rights to exclusively release the
I knew that.
podcast.
Yeah.
And $100 million. That's insane. I mean, that tells you how much money that podcast brings in. I mean,
oh yeah.
Let's see here. While the deal would be subject to a 13.3% income tax rate in California, Texas forgoes individual income taxes, which means he would get $13 million in tax breaks just on that deal alone moving to Texas.
Right.
He retains ownership and editorial control of the podcast, which reportedly brought in $30 million in revenue in 2019 on YouTube alone.
Yep.
He has not revealed where he will be based in Texas as of yet. So he's gonna make $13.3 million extra off of his deal just by moving to Texas.
Right.
The biggest number that stood out to me, aside from the $100 million from Spotify, which if Spotify's got $100 million laying around to give somebody, why aren't they paying their artists better? But the fact, though, that his podcast brought in $30 million just on the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Now, I had heard that 5 years ago he was making $75,000 per episode of the audio podcast.
Right.
Now it's got to be way more than that at this point, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's making like 3 times more than us.
He's at least making 10 times more than us. At least that much more.
3. I'm sticking with 3.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, he only has like 3 times more listeners than we do too.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that got that in old Milano's rant, and I've seen a couple of about how like he's just one other conservative, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, have you watched his podcast? Like, he's one of the most open-minded dudes. He's
so
people
open-minded
from every walk of life, every fucking like him. He's opinionated and he's whatever. I would consider him, if you had to throw him into a lump politically, he probably falls more libertarian than anything else.
That's exactly it. I'd say he's moderate libertarian. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't disparage anybody. He said like all kinds of people with different opinions, and he talks about them openly, and they have conversations. Like it's.
Well, he's also willing to have his opinion changed if presented with facts. Right. And there's a lot to be said about that. And there's not enough made out of that in today's society, especially if a celebrity is willing to have their mind and opinion changed when presented with facts and figures. If you're willing to do that, it's what a lot of people, but I'm fond of the term intellectual honesty. It's when I show you the numbers and you go, huh, I guess I was wrong. Okay. I mean, that's...
Yeah. And, well, for me, too, that goes beyond numbers. Like, one of my thing with religious shit, like, I'm pretty set in where I stand with a lot of things, and I'm pretty certain on most. But if somebody can, like, have a conversation with me and present me with facts or information even that I haven't heard before and that I haven't digested, I'll listen and I'll take it into consideration. And I've changed my mind on a lot of shit. But for the most part, like, most people can't come up with an original thought or argument against fucking anything. So I am where I stand. And I feel like he's kind of the same way. Like, he's one of those type of people. Not that I'm putting myself in the same arena with him. He's basically a fucking god among men of sorts.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. Not many people have that ability to say, you know what, I'm willing to consider this. But we got to talk about it. You have to give me something pretty compelling, again, that I haven't heard before.
Right.
Like, if you want to talk about Christianity and you come throwing the same fucking canned Bible verses that you learned in church, then fuck you. But if you can come with a different perspective, I'm all about listening. Like, even Clayton, I haven't talked to him in a long time, but we've had some great conversations, and I like his perspective on things. I still disagree with most of it, but I'm open to talking about it. I'm not like, don't talk to me about this shit. But he also doesn't try to convert me or win me back to the Lord.
Yeah, it's refreshing to have a conversation with somebody that's not trying to shove something down your throat. Right. That's why I left the Catholic Church. So,
right. Yeah. Right.
But
hey, the good part of that, though, is, your gag reflex is fucking on point.
I am very proud of that. I should have said that the other night when asked what my favorite feature about myself is. That's what I should have said.
Right. My incredibly deep throat.
I'm fond of the
I don't
grapefruit
know.
technique.
Right. Oh shit. Um, fuck. I was going to say something along those lines. Not the grapefruit or cocksucking, but something else. I can't remember now. But I don't know. I find out that, well, oh, that's what I was gonna say. With me though too, even with presented with like numbers and shit, like I'm much more open to somebody's logic behind something or their thought process or even approach than I am about fucking hard facts and figures. Like I'll take those into consideration for sure, but and this is where you and I differ on a lot of it because you're very much a numbers guy. But my thing is like, dude, people fucking suck. Numbers are manipulated, they're changed, they're fucking whatever. Like, so the numbers do lie depending on who's throwing out the numbers.
Well,
In
the
my
numbers
opinion,
don't
from what
lie.
I've
It's
seen.
the person that's putting the information out there that's doing the lying. But if you take,
Right.
that's
But
why
that,
I
but
like to find things. I like to find numbers put out by someone that doesn't have a dog in the fight, someone that doesn't
but
stand
that
to
still
gain one
doesn't.
way or the other.
Right. But that still doesn't prove the numbers being correct. They're just numbers that have been put in a sequence. Because no, even though they don't have a dog in a fight, like even quote unquote independent studies, independent things that are done, most of those have somebody pulling the strings behind them too. Like I don't trust shit. And
It was
that's why,
interesting to
like,
me that you don't trust facts, which what you said just a minute ago, that when presented with facts, that doesn't really mean anything to you.
it's not okay. Facts is the wrong word because there's some
Okay.
things like I believe in fact, but I don't always lump solid numbers and fact into the same category.
Okay.
Like if it's an observable thing, like people trying to argue fucking gravity as buoyancy because we're of a fucking flat Earth. It's like okay, you're fucking stupid. But if somebody's trying to prove a point with a statistic, is guess what more that I'm getting at, or making an argument based on, this study says X, Y, and Z. I'm like, okay, fine. But most of that shit is stuff I don't care about. So it's not like I have a strong opinion on fucking COVID numbers because you can give me studies of percentages of people that can get it, that have died, the demographics. Like, I don't fucking care. None of that matters in the long run. Like, whatever my opinion is on it probably isn't going to be swayed by your fucking numbers in that point in time because they're really irrelevant, like when it comes down to it, from my how it affects me personally. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm wording that correctly.
Yeah, when you said how it affects you personally, that made it make sense to me at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, not only because, and I think part of it, again, and the way my brain works, is I look at like numbers get thrown out from everybody in every which way, whether it's independent, whether it's biased, whether it's whatever. And so after a while, those numbers to me become less hard and more, um, those statistics become opinions.
okay. I definitely see that in some instances of things that I look into.
Right. Yeah, and that's because it's kind of like believing the news. You get so bombarded with information that you can't verify. Like there's no way you could go out and do that same independent study to find out what it really is. You have to take whoever's word on it that that's what those numbers said. And even then, they're like numbers and whether it's statistic polling, whatever the fucking case may be, they've been proven to be inaccurate time and time and time again, or changed and disproven. That's the beauty of science, right? Because it's always updating and it's always changing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not good science if it's not questioning itself.
Right. Right. But statistics don't question itself.
Well,
Statistics
I
say this
mean,
is what it is.
statisticians all the time question the numbers. They look and see if
Mm-hmm.
there's another set of numbers they should have brought into the
Right. And I
fold.
guess
And
it depends on what the statistics are or what the numbers are, because if it's based off of um, uh, human interaction, whether it be polling or question, a controlled group, whatever, people are still people, and they're going to lie, they're going to falsify, they're going to not even realize they're doing it. They're going to be speaking out of a bias, and then by that definition alone, numbers are skewed.
well, and you're also much more cynical than I am when it comes to that kind of stuff. Now, I'm a very cynical person, but you're definitely more cynical than I am when it comes to that kind of stuff. But
Right.
you know, I
Yeah,
am a
well, my
numbers
whole
guy.
thing is, but that's why perspective matters to me, and motivation and all that shit, because you can come out with your hearts and numbers. I'm like, because my whole thing is like, I can't verify that to be true. For all I know, you're pulling this out of your fucking ass.
Sure.
Even if it's coming out of whatever, just I am such a believer in all of the information we get disseminated to us is mostly either false or skewed. Like it
Sure.
just ruins half of that shit for me.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have areas that I believe
Yeah.
more than others, but
Well, those numbers aren't quantifiable to the average person to prove or disprove. Like you're relying on a small set of people that are coming up with these numbers saying, hey, this is what the facts are. And there's no way to verify that, even though they have supposedly triple redundancy. You've got people that check them, whatever the fucking case may be. But again, it's all them. It's all they did these guys did this study. Um, there's no way to fact check it or prove it for yourself ever. Just
sure.
like the news story. Like you can't tell what the fuck really happened with Bin Laden or for the World Trade Center. For all you know, that's all a bunch of shit. Even though you witnessed it with your own eyes, the truth is still fucking so skewed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but again, but that comes from my heavy cynicism and really the true belief that in the long run, the long scheme, outside of affecting me, that it doesn't really fucking matter.
Right.
But yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else you
So
want to talk about?
so fuck your news stories.
You got
Oh,
anything else you want to talk about?
fuck, man! I didn't come to the table with anything. I just came ready to see you, ready to have
I got you.
our evening communion, our time together. You wanna have some fucking Zoom sex? Fucking see each other's vinegar strokes.
I don't think I got it in me tonight. I don't think I got it in me tonight.
If I was there, you'd have it in you.
You're right. I would. Yeah.
Oh my god. No, man. I mean, I'm as shitty as the circumstances were in doing this episode. I think I think it's a good makeup.
I think so. I mean,
It's
it's
been
it's
fun.
gonna be shorter than it has been, but it's longer than the episodes were a year ago.
Yep.
So, I
And
guess
it's been a weirdly serious episode.
I think it's because it's late at night on a weeknight,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
I think we're perturbed and tired.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, you're a pissy bitch.
yeah, I am. I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Plus, like I said, I have to be up in 5 hours. You got to be up, a
so,
little
so let me
later than that. But
ask. You have to be up in 5. At what time do you have to get up?
I get up at 5 every morning.
Why?
Well, part of it was to get my body used to getting back up early to go to the gym before work.
Mm-hmm.
And getting that sweet overtime. So if I go in early as shit, I don't have to work late as shit.
I
Even though I
got you.
did tonight,
Okay.
that's why I got a 13-hour day. But
All right. So I get up
um,
at 6. You definitely get up earlier than I do. So,
yep,
all right.
yeah. And today was supposed to be my first day at the old gym, but I fucking kinked my back up working or mowing the yard
Of
yesterday,
course
and
you
I was
did.
like, right. So I was like, and it wasn't out, but it was bad enough. Like if I go and start doing some fucking
Right.
deadlifts and shit, like it's gonna fuck my world.
CrossFit.
So no, just working out with the group.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not owning that I'm
You're
doing
not
that shit.
owning that you're
Fuck.
getting into the Christian fitness program.
You you take that back, you
It's
motherfucker.
secret. CrossFit's secretly a Christian organization.
Really, I haven't heard that. Is that actually true?
That's just my
Oh, because
that's
of the
my accusation because it's
cross.
cross. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually. It seems like some shit, some kind of like Promise Keepers assholes would come up with.
It seems like something Carmen would have come up with. Yeah.
I can't believe that dude didn't die of cancer yet.
No,
Yeah.
he's the chosen one. It's all that tanning he did
Yeah.
killed
You
all
know
the
what?
cancer.
I honestly wondering though, like, because he's always been like he's one of the Christian artists, CCM artists from that time that didn't have some kind of weird scandal or shit like
That's
that.
true. Although
And
he
I'm
could have
all,
had lots of scandals because all of the Christian moms wanted to fuck the shit out of
that's what I
him.
was gonna. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I wonder how many of those ladies he fucked the shit out of in the background and just was really good at staying low key.
I don't know. Maybe he
Like, is he
Cosby'd it.
that good of? But I'm just saying, is he? Do you think he's that good of a dude that he had that much restraint for however long his fucking career's been that he didn't bang one fucking Christian church
I
mom that
mean, I
wanted to lift
definitely
up that
think that
denim skirt?
I definitely think that there are people that are that good out there that are that good of a person, but I don't
Mhm.
know enough about him to know.
But see, I don't know, like in that lifestyle, when you're out and you're touring and like all that shit's offered to you, like there's no way he could have been a saint. Like maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he's one of the few. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
he was the champion.
yeah, I know a guy that toured in a Christian band. I don't know what genre you'd have called them, but he was also a part of the Masters Commission at one point,
Mhm.
and
That's a
he's
whole different level of fucked up, by the way.
yeah, he said that the tour, all the touring and stuff, and he's like, you get, he said, you know, you're living on $5 a day in a beat up
Mhm.
van, and he said you get offered things, stay at somebody's house to get a free meal or whatever, and then somebody hits on you, whatever. He said people get offered things all the time. He said most people in that are out touring nonstop. Now he wasn't necessarily talking about the Carmens who have
Right.
the big money to kind of do it quote right,
Mhm.
but he's like it's most of the people are
Yeah.
succumbing to
Oh yeah.
temptation.
Right. Well, like, dude, Masters Commission. Okay, so I knew quite a few people that were in Masters Commission, and they had strict bans on people dating up until like a certain point they could get married, whatever. But they had such little contact. Like, I shit you not, the dudes a lot of times would cuddle together and take naps, a
You
la
told me
friend
about that
style, just to
before.
have fucking physical contact. Like, that's some fucking
It
yeah,
is,
and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, whatever. It's just that's fucking weird to me.
So the guy that I know that was a part of that is
Mhm.
now the Church of God State of Michigan Youth Director.
Oh wow. So he
So
never was cool enough to actually take over a real pastor job. He just stayed
he
at the youth
he
pastor.
was a youth pastor. He's a really cool guy, really nice guy. I enjoy hanging out. Like when I met him, we bonded over. I met him. I was wearing an MXPX shirt, and he said, wow, I'm a big MXPX fan, and that's what how we bonded over. And I helped him run his youth group for a little while back in the day, and then he moved
Jesus, you're a
on to
cheap
bigger
date.
and better things. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, dude. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to go back and get involved in the church again. I briefly went to a church in Huntsville with Amanda because she was wanting to get back into not necessarily church, but just some kind of community, whatever. And I still couldn't stand it, dude. It made me fucking nauseous just to be there half the time. Like, I fucking hated it.
yeah, Kristen
And
and
I
I
went
talked
with
about
her
that
because
recently.
it meant a lot to her, but I can't fucking stomach it. And sometimes, like, it's hard. I don't know if you ever have dealt with this and or with your kids were younger, but it's like I want them to have a good moral compass, just
Yeah,
to not be shitty people. Um, and like my background and how we were raised, like it's hard for me not to equate that with having them in church. Do you
sure.
know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I haven't, and every now and then you get questions, and I just kind of try to answer them honestly. I piss off the ex-wife a lot because I'm very fucking blunt and honest with the kids, with no matter what the question's about. Like because I think if they're old enough to ask, they're old enough to know. Not necessarily like the full adult version of it, but at least on a level that they can understand the answer to what they're asking.
yeah,
And that is in regards to sex, life, violence, whatever the case may be. Like if a kid asks you where babies come from, then they're old enough to at least get the high end version of it. You know what I mean? Because it's in their
right.
mind already. You know?
Yeah,
And for like growing up in a Christian house, like masturbation and all that shit's frowned upon, and like that's one of the talks. Like I told you, like I have his sex talks in like three stages. One was the overall, and they're the ones like, okay, you're hitting puberty. There's nothing wrong with jerking your dick. Everybody does it. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. Like, just fucking clean your shit up. Like, don't fucking leave cum stained sheets. Like, do your own fucking laundry. Like, I don't want to have to grab your crusty shit, clean your socks when you jerk off into them, but like the whole, like, to normalize that shit, that it's not this weird and bad thing. And I've done the same thing with Lyric now that she's 12 and she's asked a couple questions and whatever. I was like, that's fine. Just do it in your own fucking private space, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's a normal thing.
Right.
Because Jesse had the sex talk with her, and then she had a couple of questions, and she asked me, and she was embarrassed as shit. And I was just trying to tell her, it's like, everybody has sex. Like, when you're grown up, like, it's okay, type of thing. Anyway, whatever. But people don't like that. They think, well, they're too young. Well, yeah, if they're old enough to wonder, they're old enough to fucking know. But anyway.
Sometimes some subjects.
I think all subjects, as long as it's not, I mean, if it doesn't pertain to them, like if it's my adult life and they're wanting to know, like, why did you and mom get divorced? Like, I'm not going to give them the fucking details, but I can give them an overall, like, explanation.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, so what do you not think a kid would be old enough to understand if they're asking a question?
I don't know. It's like porn in Congress. I'll know it when I see it. I don't know. No, okay. I don't know. I mean, I think, to go back to the last thing you just said, I think you can give them a little bit of an overview of most things, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out when I have grandkids if I get asked something.
Yeah,
which could be any day now.
Right. Like Lyric asked me about, like, I basically had an overall conversation with her about fucking sex trafficking the other day.
Sure.
Because she didn't understand whatever. And, like, she's fucking 11. And I basically told her, like, little girls get kidnapped and they're made to do sex with people, because she knows what, I didn't say it just like that, but, basically, like, they get sold and people do bad things to them that they don't want done. And, against the world. So, again, it's on the explanation. Like, I'm not going to be like, hey, one day soon you're going to want to get things and shove it in your fucking pussy. It's okay. Everybody does it.
That's why we buy extra cucumbers when we go to the store.
Right. Just start small, sweetie. You don't want to split that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, I think I'm done, man. That's fucking fine. Tired as shit.
Yeah, no. We're good. Yeah. So next week's episode, we have a guest. As of right now, we have a guest. I mean, I guess that could all change.
Right.
That could all change. But as of right now, we have a guest. His name is Andy Harris. He's on Twitter he's do what?
He's a comedian. He's a writer. He's a podcaster.
Yep. So he's on Twitter. I think it's at the Andy Harris. I found him through other people that I follow, but he was
just small enough of a celebrity for us to get him on the podcast.
Regardless, so he was doing these videos of Trump's speeches as Emperor Palpatine, and
they're pretty funny.
And, well, I mean, it's as funny as Trump is because he's verbatim giving the speech, but he does a really good Palpatine impression.
Right.
So, So Mark Hamill tweeted at him, retweeted him, and things like that a couple of times, and I thought, well, good enough for Luke Skywalker, good enough for us. So,
right, absolutely.
No, but he seems like a genuinely nice, cool dude. So he'll be on with us next week. Don't know how it'll go, but
we'll see.
But yeah, and so
all right, brother.
All right. Until next time.
Until this weekend. All right.
Yeah. Bye. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook at B3F Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at B3F Podcast and on Instagram at B3F_podcast. Send us your questions or comments to bfff.podcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us wherever you listen to the show. And as always, thanks for listening.